Welcome to Alanis Business Academy. I'm Matt Alanis, and this is How to Write a Cover Letter. A cover letter, often referred to as an application message, is often sent along with a resume to an employer at the very beginning of the application process. For information on how to structure a resume, select the link above or go to the Alanis Business Academy YouTube channel page and search for the video titled Introduction to Resume Writing. Although a cover letter is not as common as a resume, it can serve as a way to distinguish yourself from other applicants. In this video, we're going to discuss how to structure a cover letter. As far as structure, all cover letters generally include the same basic elements. First, a cover letter will allow an applicant the opportunity to introduce themselves as well as their resume to an employer. This is far more effective than simply sending in a resume by itself. Remember that employers receive hundreds of resumes for a single vacancy, so try and make your own stand out from the others. Although it takes a little more time and effort, doing so can result in a big payoff if you're offered a job. In our sample cover letter, we also try to convey a knowledge of and interest in the employer in the first few sentences. This is important because the employer will be looking for someone who is going to be a good long-term fit for the company. The last thing an employer wants is for the newly hired employee to leave and be forced to start the recruiting, selection, and training process all over again. Towards the end of the first paragraph, we also indicate our desire for the position, which of course is the primary purpose of our cover letter. The next important component to a cover letter is where you briefly explain what you have to offer. You don't need to be redundant and restate exactly what's on your resume, but you should highlight 2 or 3 skills, abilities, knowledge, or other characteristics that uniquely qualify you for this position. In our sample cover letter, we highlight our past experience as an editor and financial analyst since we are applying for the position of chief editor with a newspaper specializing in financial markets. In addition, we mention our education as it is in finance and list several accomplishments as well. The last component to a cover letter is the request for an interview. There are a few schools of thought on asking for an interview. One is that it's important to convey initiative, drive, and action, and the way to do that is by stating you will call to schedule an interview. The other school of thought is to state a time when you intend to follow up with the employer, but instead of to schedule an interview, it's to confirm receipt of the application materials and discuss the next steps in the process. Many believe that the former can come off as aggressive and even be a turnoff to employers. My suggestion is to use the second of the two approaches. You're still showing that you can take initiative, but not coming across as if you're telling the employer what to do. Now that we've discussed some of the important areas of a cover letter, let's discuss some helpful tips. First, when possible, try to address the letter to a specific person. Avoid phrases like "to whom it may concern," "gentle person," or anything else that could cause your resume to be sent to the desk drawer equivalent of Siberia. Second, try to avoid exceeding 1 page in length. Remember, this letter is not meant to reiterate everything on your resume, but rather to highlight a few areas and introduce yourself to the employer. So try to keep it focused and brief. Third, make your letter perfect. There is nothing more unprofessional than careless grammatical and spelling errors. This conveys to a potential employer that this position is not important. If an applicant makes these types of errors before they have the job, imagine what their performance will be like once they have the job. Have someone you trust read your cover letter to spot any errors that can be easily corrected. Fourth, use a professional greeting. Regardless if you know the person that you're writing to, you should always use a title such as Mr., Mrs., or Doctor when appropriate, and then the recipient's last name following. Avoid addressing the letter to a first name as this lacks professionalism. Although you may be on a first name basis once you land the job, you're not at this point. Using "dear" is also recommended and generally considered to be more professional than simply stating Mr. Smith. The latter is the written equivalent of not saying hello to someone before speaking to them. When closing the letter, be sure to use "sincerely" or "respectfully." These are considered to be more formal closings, and you will never offend anyone from using them. Lastly, towards the bottom of your letter, you can include the word "enclosure," which communicates to the recipient that additional documents are enclosed and available for review. This is more of a formality, but doing so can send the message that you are detail-oriented and possess strong written communication skills without even having to state it in your letter. This has been How to Write a Cover Letter. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment box below, and I'll do my best to get back to those in a timely fashion. For access to additional videos in the area of business communication, be sure to subscribe to Alanis Business Academy, and also remember to like and share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching.